The Smith family consists of a father, a mother, and their twin children, namely Daniel and Daniela. The Smith family was not a rich family, but they were a moderate family who loved each other dearly and would do anything for each other. They might not have all gold in life, but what they had was more than anything gold could buy: love and support for each other. Let's hear their story. Please join me. They loved each other so much, to the extent that at the back of their small house and moderate house, they would always play during weekends and leave all their busy works and come together to have a family time. On weekdays, Daniel and Daniela would wake up very early in the morning to get dressed for school. They would eat their mom's delicious breakfast, take their lunch boxes, and drive with their father to school with smiling faces. Daniela and Daniel schooled in Graceful High School, one of the best schools in their area. Daniela was the opposite of Daniel. They were both opposites to each other. Daniela had many friends in school, and the reason was that Daniela was known as a very rich and popular girl in school. Although she was lying to her friends, but who wouldn't love a little popularity? She was loved by everyone in the school, and most boys liked her a lot because of her money and fame. Daniela enjoyed all this, and she would lie to her friends about holiday vacations with her family, how she had gone to different expensive places, different popular places, and different famous places, and her friends would believe her even without proper proof. And this went on for a while. But Daniel had no friends, and he felt it was just a way of having peace. He didn't have friends, he didn't have popularity, but one thing he had was his education. He was focused in his education, other than Daniela, who spent all her time gisting with her friends and not even listening in class. But Daniel, as a good brother that he was, he would cover up for his sister, do her assignments for her, and make her look like she's also intelligent and perfect to everyone, including his parents. One day, when Daniela was busy chatting with her friends in the school cafeteria, Daniela noticed Mimi, the school cleaner. Although she was not old enough to be a school cleaner, but she was just helping her mother for the meantime. She was also a teenage girl like Daniela, but Daniela hated her so much and would tease her every time she saw her. And this was another perfect opportunity to tease her, where everyone would see and laugh at her. Daniela grabbed her juice from her table, stood up from there, and purposely went to pour it on the ground of the school cafeteria. Her friends watched her do that and knew that Daniela was going to tease Mimi again. And when Daniela finished pouring the juice, she went to where Mimi was seated and told her, "Hey, cleaner girl, can't you see that I mistakenly spilled my juice on the floor? Or are you blind not to see it? Come on, go and clean it up, or is that not your job? Will you get up and go and clean it up?" She said that, and after saying so, she started laughing. Mimi went to clean the juice without complaining and without saying a word, even after knowing that Daniela purposely poured it, but she was already used to Daniela's teasing. And while doing this, Daniela and her friends immediately stood around her and started laughing at her, pointing fingers at her, and this made Mimi very sad, but she cleaned up and left there. And after break hours, Mimi sat in the janitor's closet, crying and thinking. While in hunger, she was very sad. She thought that if she had the opportunity that Daniela had, she would never do such a thing. She would be nice to everyone, but she felt life wasn't just equal for everyone, and she left the school that day. Few weeks later, bad things started happening, starting with Mr. Smith getting a phone call of his contract, which he has gotten so many loans from banks to get, failing and falling down the drain. And when he heard this, he fell into sorrow and worries. When his wife got back, he told her about the situation on ground, and his wife was not happy to hear the news that her husband had brought to her. But they kept it a secret from their children, and Mr. Smith told his wife that he was going to look for a way to fix the problem. But one day, when Mrs. Smith went to drop her kids at school, her kids immediately got back home after 30 minutes. Mrs. Smith asked her kids, "My darlings, why are you back home so quick? This is unusual. I just dropped you in school 30 minutes ago." And they told their mother that they were sent home for exam fees. They told them in their school that they couldn't participate in the examination because their exam fees had not been paid. And their mother assured them after hearing this that their father were going to pay for the bills, that it just needed a little bit more time for it to be paid. And Daniela immediately stood up and said, "Mom, I can't handle this. How will I miss an exam for a day? This can't be happening. My friends at school will know that I am not paid. That is the reason why I did not write the exam. This is all so disheartening. Mom, you and Dad need to look for a solution to this quickly, because I can't lose my popularity in my school. This is downgrading. Please." And she left, running into her room. In the evening, Mr. Smith was trying to check through his phone to see whether he could call people who would help him in this situation that he had landed himself into. And while doing that, his children arrived into his room, telling him, "Daddy, you know we were sent from school for fees today, and right now we are very hungry and we need money for food, and there is no food stuff in the kitchen, not even garri that we can drink. Dad, what is going on? Why did you suddenly become like this? Tell us what is going on. We deserve to know." While hearing this, their mother stood up and started pointing at their father, saying angrily, "Your father has gotten us into this mess. He went and took a lot of loans for a contract that he never got, and he has lost deeply so much money into it. This is a disgrace to our family. This is a disgrace to me. This is a disgrace to my darling daughter Daniela. How is she going to maintain her popularity in her school? How am I going to maintain my popularity among my friends? All our riches are gone, and this man is sitting down here doing nothing." And Mrs. Smith said all this to Mr. Smith while her children watched. And of course, Daniela backed up her mother, while Daniel backed up his father. And Mr. Smith stood up in anger and shouted, "Ah! Is that what you all are concerned about? Your popularities? Daniela, why can't you be much more like Daniel? Why can't you be understanding? Why do you have to take everything after your mother? Why are you guys frustrating my life? Why are you guys frustrating my life? He screamed angrily and left the room. The next morning, Mr. and Mrs. Smith sat in their room. Mr. Smith sat and was looking worried, thinking of a solution to this big problem of theirs, while Mrs. Smith cried like a baby, saying irrelevant things like, "Oh my God, you have sold all my shoes and my bags. You have used all my beautiful and expensive things as collateral to this stupid loan of yours. Why would you do such a thing to me? My friends are going to think I'm a liar. They are going to hate me. They are not going to want to be my friends." And she kept on speaking like a baby, while her husband was just too tired to say anything. That same morning, bank officials arrived in front of Mr. Smith's house, telling them that they had just 1 hour to pack all their things out of their house, and the only things they could pack was their clothes. No gold, no jewelry, no shoes, not even furniture. They had the privilege of not packing anything but just their clothes out of the house in just 1 hour. After 1 hour, the Smith family was now on the streets, dragging their bags to only God knows where. But fortunately for them, they found an uncompleted building where they could lay their head, which seemed a little more secure. And Mr. Smith decided that they should start living there. Daniel agreed because of the situation of things, but Daniela and her mother found it very hard to agree. They cried and cried like babies, screaming and shouting like they could disappear from there in one piece. But it was not happening, so they had to accept their fate. So Mrs. Smith sadly started cleaning the dirty house. She had never seen a house that dirty before, and even while cleaning, she felt irritated and puked at the little chance. Few days passed, and Mr. Smith found a job as a car washer in a car wash company, while Mrs. Smith opened a small canteen in front of their small and dirty house to sell foods. Daniel would help in fetching water. Daniela would help in doing the washing, and her mother helped her sometimes because Daniela never knew how to wash plates. At her age, she didn't know how to wash plates. Her mother spoiled her to that extent, but Daniel refused to be spoiled because he knew that life wasn't equal for everyone. After washing the dishes, Daniela sat inside the small canteen, looking poor and dirty. She felt very sad and started crying. She had never seen such a life before. She thought that all her father's riches swept away in just one day, and everything seemed like it was a dream. She tapped herself many times in order to think she would wake up from the dream that she had met herself. But there was no dream, it was reality. That same day, Mr. Smith was sitting and thinking about his life after work, and a pastor walked up to him and said, "Good day, young man." He replied, "Good day, sir. How may I help you?" The pastor replied, "You can't help me. I am the one to help you. I have a message to pass to you and your family. You have offended someone. Maybe not you personally, but your blood has offended someone who should not be offended because of the power that person held. Mr. Smith was confused, but he told the pastor to be specific about who he was talking about. He said, "I saw in a vision that your daughter, named Daniela, insulted and made jest of a young girl who comes from a very powerful home and who should not be offended or made jest of. Your daughter has offended this girl, and her tears is the reason for your family's suffering." Mr. Smith heard all this in shock, but he believed the pastor because the pastor mentioned his child's name. And he took all this information with him and ran home to tell his family about it. When he got home, he told his wife and his children about what he heard from the pastor. And when Daniela heard this, she was shocked and immediately started asking for their apology and forgiveness. Her parents were mad at her, especially her mother. Her mother said, "So you are the cause of our suffering. Daniela, you are the cause of our suffering. You, this stupid girl, you went to school to insult a cleaner, and now look at where it has gotten us to. Can you see that you are a useless child?" And Mr. Smith stopped his wife from speaking and told her that you should have said all this earlier. You should have reprimanded your daughter earlier, because if you had, she would know that it is not right to mock people who think they are below her standard. And after proper findings of the girl's house, they headed to Mimi's house. When they got there, they met a woman crying in front of a small house. And they went to meet her, asking her why she was crying. And she said, "My daughter came home few days ago and told me that she had suffered greatly at her school. She said all of this and she died. She didn't even wait for me to speak one word before she took her last breath." And after hearing this, Daniela knelt down to talk to the woman, and she told the woman that she was the one who humiliated her daughter that day. And the woman was shocked, but she forgave Daniela even after everything. But things never changed. Even after begging, the Smith family continued living their poor life and accepted it as a punishment. Although they learned to forgive their daughter, and Daniela and her mother also changed their ways and started adapting to their new life. The end. The moral lesson is simple and learnt already. You should teach your child the way you want them to behave. You can't expect your child to be taught, and it is not right to spoil your child. This lesson is for the parents out there. You should teach your child the way you want them to become. And remember that your children are watching your ways, and every example you lead to them or show to them is what they will follow. They follow your character. They follow your leadings. They do as you do. They do as you teach them. So parents, lead your children the way you want them to be and the way you want them to be led. But unfortunately, that's all for now. But you will see me in my next video. And if you want to, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. But for now, bye.